Nowadays, we can turn to modern medicine to help us with all manner of ailments. But what did people rely on earlier in history? Today, we are going to explore one of those recipes.
Hey, my name is Jair and today I'll be making fire cider with some ingredients from the garden. I'll be going over what fire cider actually is, what kind of ingredients I'll be using, and of course how to make it. Now before we start, a little bit about me. Ever since I was a child, I was fascinated by magical potions, tinctures and tonics. Fantastical liquids in an old-fashioned bottle with a cork that had some kind of magical or beneficial effect to the one who drank it. From the druid Panoramix or Getafix with his super strength potion to the more recent stories and games such as The Witcher, I enjoy them all. Before anybody asks it, yeah, I'm a bit of a nerd. Now that being said, these stories are of course based on something, as mankind has been making potions, powders and brews in search of vitality for hundreds of years. So, in order to take a step back into history and delve into the realms of herbalism, we are going to make fire cider with some ingredients from the garden. So now that the weather is getting colder, you might hear the term a little bit more often, but what actually is fire cider? It's a tonic, a concoction of herbal extracts, if you will, that helps you boost your immune system as well as ward off any winter colds or the flu, for example. Granted, nowadays this might be used a little bit more like a folk remedy, but that doesn't stop me from trying to make it. If anything, it will probably help you blow open your sinuses, as it can pack quite a punch. So, as the name implies, you use apple cider vinegar for the base of the tonic, and then you steep all manner of herbs in it for weeks. The acidity of the vinegar helps to extract as well as preserve any beneficial properties that the herbs might have, granting you a very concentrated potion. So often root vegetables as well as herbs that grow underground are used to make fire cider, such as horseradish, onions, garlic, ginger, to name a few. But since it's a very flexible recipe, you can pretty much add whatever you want. Very often peppers like jalapenos or chilies are also added to the mix, and of course that makes it a lot more spicy, hence the name fire cider. But you don't have to add those if you don't like the spiciness. Okay, so now that you know a little bit more about the basics of fire cider, let's head into the garden and see what we can find and use in our potion. All right, let's see what we can find. All right, let's start over here at this bed, because I know there are a few things in here that I can use. A few weeks ago, I've sown some radishes over here. They haven't become the biggest yet, and they have been attacked by slugs a little bit. But nevertheless, I'm going to get a few out, because I don't have horseradish, which is often used in fire cider, but I guess these regular radishes will have to do. And otherwise they'll be eaten by slugs anyway. There's also a few garlics in here, and I initially planted these not necessarily for eating, but in hopes to ward off the vole, because I read that they don't really like the smell of it. It didn't really help with this bed, but nevertheless the garlics have been growing. So I'm going to get a few out of there. If they're not like a full bulb, it doesn't matter. I can use the leafy greens of it as well. I planted some garlic back at home last year, and I already harvested that during summer, so I can also use those cloves to make the fire cider. So yeah, so this one over here, it's not really a bulb, it's more like a small leek. Yeah, I think we can use this. I have some calendula in the garden, as you can see, and it has been one of the more consistent bloomers in the garden. It has been a lot of fun to have it in the garden, but they also tend to have some medicinal properties. They tend to be good for your skin if you process them into like a salve or something. I know you can also eat them, so you know what, I'll just pick a few flowers and I'll add that to the mix as well. Now there's a few more things I want to get from the garden. Over here we have some thyme, which I'm going to cut off a few branches. Oh, it smells so good. And over here in the second bed, I know that I've planted a few onions. Now the leafy greens have been eaten up by slugs, but I do believe that the onion itself is actually undamaged. At least I hope so. They probably won't be that big. Yeah, there's a little bulb over here. There we go. Boop. Yeah, I'm taking that one. There's one over here. Or there should be one over here. There and there. And lastly, I'll be getting some rosemary that has been growing pretty well over here at the entrance of my garden. And the same as with the thyme, it apparently has anti-inflammatory properties as well as some antibacterial and viral properties, and it just smells really, really good. Just one more for good measure. Okay, I think that's all of it. Let's head back home and make some fire cider. We're back at home and we are ready to make our fire cider. Now I'm going to base it on the recipe from this book, and I'm also going to add some extra ingredients that I could not get from the garden, such as ginger, turmeric, peppers, juniper berries and some cloves. Now I'm making my own apple cider vinegar for the first time. There is an orchard right next to the allotments and we use the apples from the orchard to make this one. But for the sake of the recipe you can of course use store-bought apple cider vinegar. Okay, we're gonna chop everything up, increase the surface area, put everything into the jar and then cover it up with the apple cider vinegar. Now it goes without saying, sanitize your jars before you use them. Okay, so this has to steep for 4 to 6 weeks in a dark place at room temperature and then it will be done. Okay, so it's been about 4 weeks and it's time to give the fire cider the good old taste test. Oh, that's quite spicy. Tastes good though, tastes like soup. I can see why they call it fire cider. I'm going to let this steep for a few more weeks, after which I will sieve it and bottle it, and then I'll have my own fire cider for the winter months. Have you made your own fire cider before? What kind of ingredients have you used? Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, if you're interested in some more vitality boosting things you can make in a jar, then watch my previous video right here.